Take my heart, our innocence has gone. The darkness fuels my soul. Your anger fuels my hate. The children lost their parents. Fingerpicking, people of the world, friends and relatives, what a joy, what a privilege. What an opportunity. I was up all night writing that song for you. I call it, Baby, Do You Want to Peel My Grapes? I have a confession to make. 99.999% of the time when I write songs for you in these videos, I'm making them up on the spot. I have like bloopers, and the lyrics are different every single take. I know, I can read the comments right now. Stuart, upload your bloopers. People of the world, friends and relatives, the last line about the children lost their parents, I wrote that ahead of time. When I was setting up, I was like, I just got that stuck in my head. I got, children lost their parents. And I was like, Stuart, you got to put that in the video today. So here's the plan for today. I'm going to teach you the basic finger picking pattern that everybody wants to know. Then I'm going to give you my top 5 finger picking tips. Is it 5 or is it 4? It is 6. 6 finger picking tips. I'm gonna put 5 in the title because 5 has more zing to it, and everybody knows the whole point of life is to put zing into your YouTube videos. Titles. Golly gee whiz. So for everyone who's like, finger picking, I want to learn that. This guy looks nice. I'm gonna click on this video. It's gonna be this for another like 14 minutes. And I say 14, I mean 27 minutes of me just doing this. So I'm preparing you. Like, we are gonna do some tips, but it's gonna be pretty much like this the whole time. People of the world, I cut the tip of my finger off. It was not on purpose. It was a mistake. It was a poor decision regardless. I wish I didn't do it. I did not go to the hospital, but I considered going to the hospital. Nothing was reattached, but I'm like, I wonder if they could reattach that part. Luckily, I have some song tutorials recorded in advance, but be prepared. There's going to be a series of Stuart chopped the tip of his finger off videos where I'm not really playing songs. I'm more just going over techniques and stuff like that. All right, let's get cooking. People of the world, friends and relatives, we're gonna play a C major 7 chord. Standard tuning. Please put your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string from the top. Put your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string from the top. It's the Billie Eilish chord is what I call this one. Let's learn this basic pattern. Will you please take your thumb and put it just sitting on top of the 2nd string from the top. It's just resting there. Take your middle finger and grab on to the 2nd string from the bottom. You're gonna like pinch those together so you can squeeze them together like this. Go ahead and do that. Just squeeze those 2 strings together for a second. Amazing work. Uncle Stuart, wait, hang on a second. Should I be using my nails or the pads of my fingers? Also, what's the deal with those finger picks that I've seen? Should I use those? All of the above are options. You can use the little plastic finger picking things. I strongly urge you do not do that. Do I have any of those picks with me? I do not. The plastic finger picking things, they might be good down the line if you want to get more volume or play certain styles, but I think it will be much easier if you start out using your bare fingers. We're gonna raw dog it. Bareback. No. Wait, okay. As for if you should use your nails or the pads of your fingers, I use the pads of my fingers because I don't really have any fingernails. Some people do grab onto the strings with their nails. It has a brighter sound. Some people also kind of use a hybrid. It's like they are hitting the strings with their nails, but they're also using the pads of their fingers, the actual flesh. I just use the flesh. Flesh is a weird word, right? We should stop using that. I think flesh should be considered a bad word. Pinch those 2 strings together and then just kind of pull your fingers away to pluck the strings like this. 1, 2, 3. Do it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. You might pluck too hard at first. That's okay. You might pluck too softly. You might, whatever you do, I don't even care because I'm not there and I can't hear it, so it doesn't matter. So you pinch those 2 together. Then you're gonna wait for just a moment and then your thumb is gonna play the 3rd string from the top. Fantastic. Immediately after that, your pointer finger is gonna play the 3rd string from the bottom. So now we have pinch, wait, thumb, finger. Play with me, bumble binger. Pinch, wait, thumb, finger. One more time, don't let it linger. Pinch, wait, thumb, finger. Great job, now we're done. Then your thumb plays the second string from the top all by its lonesome self. Then your middle finger plays the second string from the bottom all by its lonesome self. Pinch, wait, thumb, finger, thumb, middle. Great work. There's only one more note. Are you ready for it? The last note you're gonna play is your thumb is gonna play the third string from the top. So now we've got pinch, wait, thumb, pointer, thumb, middle, thumb, wait. Do you have it memorized? Pinch, wait, thumb, pointer, thumb, middle, thumb, wait. One more time and then we've got it twice in a row. Karate chop it. Pinch, wait, thumb, finger, thumb, middle, thumb, and wait. And pinch, wait, thumb, finger, middle, pinchy, winky, winker. I messed up the verbiage at the end. What does verbiage mean? All right, wait, speaking of verbiage, Uncle Stuart, I have heard people talk about finger style. Is finger style the same as finger picking? I think so. I use those words interchangeably. What do you think? In the comments, how do you feel about verbiage on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being the least and 10 being the moist? All right. This is going great. Uncle Stuart, what the heck is this thing we just learned? I'll tell you what this is. This is the basic Travis picking pattern. Travis picking is the most common finger picking pattern. I have no statistical evidence to back this up. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye to make sure that blood doesn't seep through this Band-Aid. I don't know what I'd do if blood does, like even if blood started spurting out of my finger, I don't know what I would do. I think I'd probably keep making the video and then I would just die. There's a bunch of variations to that pattern, but that's the pattern you wanna know. All right, there's one more little like serious thing I need to tell you and then we're gonna get into the tips. The tips are also serious. Guys, tip, ironic. Would you please, yes, I'm obsessed with it because I literally cut part of my body off. If you cut part of your body off on purpose, accident, wouldn't you be obsessed with it? It was on accident. If you are thinking that, do as I say, not as I do. What I did was I chopped the tip of my finger off. What I'm saying is, don't chop the tip of your finger off. This is a defining moment in my life. Countless variations of that pattern, but I highly recommend you master that pattern before you dabble in too many other finger picking possibilities and tribulations. People of the world, friends and relatives. Finally, we've made it to the tips. Just the tips. Tip number 1, try to keep your thumb pretty straight, pretty flat when you're finger picking. If you go like this and you use like the very tip of your thumb, it gets a really thin, scratchy sound, and you just don't have as much control over it. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but keep your thumb straight like that and move your whole thumb as a unit. Don't try to use the knuckle of your thumb and go like that. Look, watch, look. This is gonna be a garbage show mixed with a, what do you mix a garbage show with? It's terrible, it's horrible, don't do it. Keep your thumb flat, watch. Oh, so much better, amazing. All right, tip number 2, when you pinch notes together and when you pluck notes, don't like pull your whole hand away from the guitar. Don't go like this. I can't even do it. It makes it impossible, but I've seen people do it. I like to take this part of my hand and anchor it here, and then I'm just moving my fingers. I'm not moving my whole hand, I'm just moving my fingers. Some people take their pinky and or ring finger and anchor it down here. A lot of great players do that. I've seen Paul Simon do it, lots of people who are amazing finger pickers. For me, if I have these fingers down here, my hand gets very tense and I don't like it, so I like to anchor back here. That's how Lindsey Buckingham does it. Some people do have like a little floating hand where their hand is anchored, their arm is anchored up here by their elbow. I don't care for that. For me, I don't feel like I have the control. This is more kind of the like, I call this the classical method. and I have kind of some sort of a vendetta against classical guitar. I can't quite explain it. All three are totally legit. I like to take this and anchor it here. Then I just keep my hand locked in place and my fingers and thumb do all the work. I'm not pulling away as I pluck. Really good tip. Tip number 3, drum the rhythm before you play it. Let me explain. So most people are gonna get really concerned with the fingerings of the chords and the exact fingers they use over here. And that's great, that stuff is important. But just like with every other style of guitar playing, rhythm is the most important thing. Here's what I see people do all the time. I think there is a very good chance you're gonna do it, and I'm disappointed. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. You're gonna go like this. You're gonna forget all about the rhythm and just try to play the pattern as fast as you can. Listen, here's your stupid way of playing it. Listen how fast I'm going. Aren't you proud of me? No, I'm ashamed of you because listen. We want slow, fast, 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 slow. Slow, fast, 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 slow. Ta, ti, 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 ta. Poo, 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 pee, pee, poo, poo. People of the world, friends and relatives, would you please drum this rhythm with me? Slow, fast, 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 slow. Long, short, 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 long. I'm not joking. Please do it with me. 1, 2, here we go. And boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Bing, bing, bang, bing, bang, boom. Hey, ba, 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 hey. Yeah, you're laughing now, but I'm laughing all the way to the bank because you learned the pattern correctly, the rhythm for it. And when I brought it to the bank, they were like, what? I don't understand. I think you're having a dream. And I went, like that. I know most of you are thinking this is the stupidest tip. It's the most important tip. Drum this rhythm so that your hand plays the correct rhythm. I know I've said the same thing 5 times in a row. It's that important. Tip number 4, you don't want to sound like a robot, presumably, when you're playing this. You don't, listen, here's what a robot sounds like. Honestly, not that bad. Gets the job done. That robot knows where its bags are packed, checks are cashed. I don't know what expression I'm looking for. What will make it sound even prettier, though, is if you accent a certain note. Accent is just a musical term that basically means play louder. That's basically what accent means. Here are the options I'm going to give you for the notes that you can accent. You can accent the first pinch, so you go loud, soft, 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 loud, soft, 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 soft. That's the easiest way, and that will get your head in the game. The accented note that's even cooler is if you accent the third note, which is the pointer finger note. So you go soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, soft. Honestly, accenting pretty much any note works pretty well, but those two, the first pinch or the third note, the pointer finger note, if you play those notes a little louder and the other notes like as softly as you can, it's gonna add a lot more musicality to your finger picking. People of the move. Tip number 5, keep constant pressure over here with your fingers. This is especially tricky on the C chord, which shows up in a lot of finger picking songs. I'm not going to attempt it because when people are finger picking, a lot of people have a tendency to, after you play, like right here, my middle finger's pushing on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string from the top. There's going to be a tendency to, after you play that 2nd string from the top, you're just going to want to relax your middle finger a little bit. You just go, there, I played that note, now that finger can just kind of take it easy. I'm not saying you're gonna take the finger completely off. I'm saying you're gonna like stop thinking about it. You're not allowed to do that. You have to keep constant pressure with all of your fingers. It's gonna be exhausting. You're gonna have to really focus on keeping that constant pressure because we want all the notes to keep ringing out as long as possible. And as soon as one of your fingers relaxes just a little bit, the note just disappears, or even worse, it starts buzzing like that. And we do not want that. The finger picking is a lot like the duck cruising along the top of the water. Do you guys know about this? You look at the top of the pond and the duck is just going nice and smooth. Look at that duck effortlessly cruising across the pond. But if you look under the water, what's happening? That duck is working its tail off. And we know ducks have tails. We know that from the show DuckTales. Hang on a second. Scrooge. That's us. We are Scrooge McDuck. On the surface, beautiful, effortless, graceful. Under the water, working our tails off, squeezing as hard as we can. People of the world, Tip number 6. Give yourself some grace when it comes to muted notes. I don't know what the word grace means, but I used it this morning while I was having coffee with my wife, and I think I used it correctly, so I decided I would go for it right now. I think grace basically means like be patient and understanding, kind of. So when you're doing finger picking, you're gonna hear some muted notes. When you're strumming a chord, you don't necessarily hear every muted note, but when you're picking, listen. I tried to make that muted, but I failed. That was not a humble brag. I just, look. There we go. Listen, listen, listen. Awful, right? But listen, if I strum it, it sounds fine. The point being, you will notice muted strings and little clunky notes that you never noticed before. It's just gonna happen. Of course you wanna try to minimize those muted notes, but it's gonna take a lot of time and patience. So what I really recommend you do is when you hear a muted note, try to just keep going with the pattern. Here's an example of what you don't wanna do. Did you see what I did there? I heard the muted note and I stopped everything and tried to fix it. Don't do it. Here's what you do want to do. You ready? Just keep the pattern going. Focus on the rhythm. You can work on that muted note later, and eventually over time you will be able to get all the notes clear and the pattern at the same time. But right now the priority is keeping the rhythm of the pattern going. So be patient with yourself with muted notes. That's all we've got. That's all I have for today. Tip number 7, don't cut the tip of your finger off.